Chapter 1. The God We Don't Like. But need to know, you thought I was altogether like you, but I will rebuke you. Psalm 50:21. There is a version of God that most people love, the kind, merciful, forgiving, always understanding Father who gives us second chances. That God comforts us when we're broken and blesses us when we ask. He loves sinners and eats with them. He says, "Come as you are," that God is real. But there is another side of God, one that many people avoid, ignore, or quietly reject. This is the God who hates sin, the God who judges, the God whose holiness burns like fire, who wipes out nations, who rebukes prophets, and who even allowed his chosen people to go into exile because of their rebellion. This is the God we don't like, but he is the same God. The discomfort of holiness. Holiness means set apart, pure, undefiled, perfect in every way. God's holiness isn't just a feature, it's his nature. Every other part of God, his love, his justice, his mercy, his power, flows from his holiness. We live in a world where tolerance is the highest virtue, but God isn't tolerant of evil. He doesn't compromise. He doesn't adjust to modern culture. He doesn't wink at sin. He cannot behold iniquity. Habakkuk 1:13. People often ask, why would a loving God send people to hell? But the real question is, how could a holy God allow sin into his presence? We forget that holiness is more offensive than hell to the human heart. Holiness exposes us. It reminds us that we are not God. It demands change, the human reaction to a holy God. In Isaiah 6, the prophet saw a vision of the Lord high and lifted up. The angels cried, "Holy, holy, holy." They didn't cry, "Love, love, love," or "Power, power, power," though God is all those things. Holiness was the anthem of heaven. Isaiah's reaction was not excitement. He cried out, "Woe is me! I am undone, for I am a man of unclean lips." Isaiah 6:5. When you see God for who he really is, you don't brag, you break. This is why many people resist the real God. We want a manageable deity, a God who understands our struggles, but not a God who demands repentance. A God who accepts us, but not a God who expects us to be holy. But the true God will not change to fit our feelings. He calls us to change to reflect his nature. Why people prefer a God who only loves the modern world, wants love without holiness, blessings without obedience, Jesus without the cross. But a God who only loves and never judges isn't a real God. He's an idol shaped by our desires. Imagine a judge who lets murderers walk free because he loves everyone. That's not love. That's injustice. Holiness demands justice. Love without truth is just flattery. But God's love is holy love. It comes with truth, discipline, and transformation. God's holiness is not something to fear like a monster. It's something to respect, to honor, to submit to, because it is holy love that saves, not worldly tolerance. The holiness of Jesus. Even Jesus, the most loving person to ever walk the earth, was deeply holy. He flipped tables in the temple, Matthew 21:12. He rebuked religious leaders, Matthew 23. He told people to go and sin no more, John 8:11. He said, "If your eye causes you to sin, gouge it out," Mark 9:47. This is not the soft Jesus of motivational memes. This is the real Jesus, the image of the invisible God, holy and true. Why this chapter matters. If we don't begin with God's holiness, we'll never understand the Bible, the cross, or salvation itself. We'll think of sin as a mistake, hell as an overreaction, and grace as God letting things slide. But when we understand that God is holy, everything changes. We stop comparing ourselves to others and start comparing ourselves to Him. We stop excusing sin and start confessing it. We stop treating God like a tool for success and start worshiping Him for who He is. Real-life reflection. There was a man who lived a religious life, church every Sunday, tithed regularly, never drank or smoked. But one night in prayer, he sensed God show him the pride in his heart. He had judged others, looked down on sinners, and was secretly living for praise, not for God. In that moment, he realized holiness is not just avoiding outward sin, it's total surrender to a God who sees everything. He broke down in tears. That night began a new walk with God, not based on works, but based on awe. Reflection. Questions 1. Have you ever felt uncomfortable with God's holiness? Why? 2. What part of your life would change if you truly saw God as holy? 3. Do you believe most churches today still preach the holiness of God? 4. How does God's holiness challenge your understanding of love? To get the full book, check the description below. The God We Don't Like by Mayowa Adeoye is available now on Amazon and Selar. This book will challenge what you think you know about God. Follow Adeoye's Mind on all platforms for more chapters, videos, and real talk.